Hey there, I am Mr. Poquette, and if you are watching this, it means that you are in film studies or somebody got you a bootleg version of the movies that I make in my movie class, which I think is just fine. I'm excited that you are here. I just want to make one thing clear. If you think that film studies class is going to be all about like just sitting in the dark and happy fun movie time, you're mostly right. We're definitely going to be watching movies. We're going to enjoy them. We're going to appreciate them. And what I want to do is just kind of pique your interest a little bit into what we will kind of do. And it won't be something like this exactly, but what I do want to do is I do want to level you up in paying attention to movies and seeing how they are telling their story. What is the message we're getting it? How are they doing it so effectively? How are they using sound and light and color in addition to the storyline? Because most of us probably have favorite movies, but when we think about those movies, they're probably because the storyline and maybe the graphics or characters, funny things, amazing things, whatever. But there are lots of other layers that I want you to be paying attention to. So first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to play a movie for you, a clip from a movie. I'm going to play it three different ways. I'm going to play it with the sound, I'm going to play it without the sound, and then I'm going to play it the way that it was meant to be seen. And I want you to be thinking about what are you picking up each different way, because I know we don't watch movies that way, but for somebody like yourself who's taking this class and maybe is being asked to pay attention more than just movie good, movie bad, this is one way for us to do that. So let's begin. How's it going? You doing all right? It's actually playing, but it'll take a minute. So what do you hear so far? What's the music like? Is this something with a 4/4 beat that you can dance to, or is it a different kind of music? What is its purpose? You don't need to identify the instruments or anything like that, but it's, oh, you've got people too. There's some orchestra music. It's probably not people speaking Spanish listening to opera or orchestra music. What else do you hear? Can you identify the animal? I couldn't tell you what it is. I would say bird. So far what we've got here is we've got a setting that is probably not in a city. It's probably not taking place in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. It is, we don't know the time period. We hear some noises that you would associate with being outside. We heard some birds that you don't typically hear in the Midwest. You hear people speaking a different language. You hear some kind of slow moving, not creepy music, but I would say it's kind of foreboding, like it's kind of uncertain music. And so what you could draw the conclusion of is that you are maybe in a jungle, maybe in a forest, maybe in a wooded area. Again, we don't know the time period because these things could happen at any time. So let's continue. Jumping forward just a little bit here. Now we're starting to see a little bit of it as well.
Boys be still fresh, 3 days. They're following us.
If they knew we were here, they would have killed us already.
Right before this, I believe they tell you it's South America 1936, or maybe it's just about to be showing up. Yeah, there it is. I've seen this a few times. All right, so what I want you to be thinking about now that we can see and hear things is who's in charge here, and how do we know that? Okay, it's this guy, not that guy. But another thing to think about here is what's important in this shot. We're going to talk, one of the first assignments we're going to do is I'm going to show you about 13 different techniques and shots in movies and ask you to find them. But this one right here is, like they're showing you this map, but then they're also showing you this guy's expression, because he's looking on not too brightly like, what do you got there, boss? And this guy right here, whose face we have not seen yet, all we've seen is the back of him with his fedora. And by now, you probably know that this is Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Indiana Jones is kind of a big figure in movies. And so he's known sort of by that fedora. But, you know, we will come back to this movie and watch it, and you can see why Indiana Jones became such a big name in movies. But right now, what we get is we get this guy reacting to this thing. Like, there's this guy in the middle of the forest or jungle in 1936 in South America, and he's guided by an old tattered map that's in a bunch of pieces, all right? There can't be more than one of these in the world. Most of us, if we need to go south of Lamira, probably need GPS. So, like, this is a pretty clever dude who's got these other two who are following along, who apparently know the Jovitos and poison and whatever. So they know a couple things, but they're not the boss, right? They're not the Jefe. They're not the ones who are, like, paying to have somebody assist him on this journey. It's most likely the guy with the fedora and the cool map who is doing that. If you have any questions about who's in charge, 3 minutes into the movie here, you learn real quick. So the best parts about this whole thing is that before there was Indiana Jones, before there was a Raiders of the Lost Ark, before Harrison Ford had the career that he's had and everything, Indiana Jones has to be built up into what it would become. And there are plenty of other movies that tried to be like this, and movies that came after it that had varying degrees of success. But there's only really one Raiders and one Indiana Jones. And what they do right here is they show you some things. They don't say Indiana Jones is a bad dude. They show you, right? They don't show his face until he gets announced by that pretty amazing music. Like, if you were to walk into a party or something like that, and like that kind of music is what's playing, it would announce what kind of person you are without people having to guess about it. Not only that, but this guy just had somebody cock a gun. He has a jump on him. He's on his back. Indiana Jones, without even turning around, like, disarms him with a bullwhip. Doesn't disarm him with a gun. Doesn't freak out or anything like that. He disarms him with a bullwhip and then calmly wraps it back up, just staring him down like, I know you're not coming back. You're not stupid enough to come back. This guy's expression right here is what kind of sells it all. This is a guy looking at him like, well, I was thinking about double crossing you, but I'm not thinking about it as much now, even though he totally wants to do that. So these are things that you can pick up just watching and paying attention to the sound, the music, where it's used, where it got quiet. Did you notice right after he cocked the gun, like, music goes away for a second? You know, you see this in movies, like scary movies especially. You know when the music goes away that something's about to happen, except sometimes the filmmakers know that you know when the music's about to go away that something's going to happen, so they make nothing happen, and then you expect it to, and then it comes out before you're expecting it or whatever, or they just mess with you because they know what they're doing. And you as the audience, you know how to react or pay attention or do yourself the double fake out. So these are some things we're going to be checking out. All right, what I'd like to do now is I've actually shown you the film without sound, I'm sorry, without picture, with the picture. What I want to do is I want to show you something different that is kind of weird and makes you pay attention to the movie in a completely different way. We just checked out the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. We listened to it without the visual. Then we kind of had the visual come in, and we talked about like what they're actually showing you in that scene. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you something really cool from a director named Steven Soderbergh. I'll leave it to you to come back to this if you're really into movies, and you definitely should. But what he does is something that he even writes in here is like, this is not something that I'm not exactly allowed to do. But I did it, and this has been up for several years, and the Spielberg people have not taken it down, because what he's done is kind of a loving look at Raiders of the Lost Ark, but he's looking at, if a movie is good and it's told well, then you should be able to watch it with the sound off. You should be able to follow along and understand what's happening for the most part without dialogue and without the music cueing you in, because as we've seen, and think about your favorite movies, there are emotional moments where the music makes you feel something. It scares you, it tugs at your heartstrings, it makes you feel sad, it makes you get excited, you get pumped up as action's happening or whatever. But if you take that away, you should still be able to follow those emotions and follow the storyline without it. So what he did here is he took Raiders of the Lost Ark and let me just show you and we'll see what he did. Not what you were expecting. Anybody know where the music came from? I'll tell you at the end. So think about how this is so different from what you heard before with the orchestra music, with the birds chittering and the people speaking Spanish and the burro, making its noises and stuff. You don't get that. This music is made by a guy named Trent Reznor, who makes almost nothing but really good music. Recently made the soundtrack for the TV show The Watchmen, which is fantastic. The music and the show. Let's see if we can jump ahead to the right place. Let's rewatch this scene here and see, pay attention to how it's different to you in black and white and with different sound. Bad guy. See how he sells everything with his eyes? Like, he's really scared, the guy who ran away. So it kind of continues like this throughout the entire movie. You can skip around, and this is actually the music from the movie The Social Network. And I don't know if the music just didn't show up here or if it's a quiet part that they did that on purpose. But anyways, we will return to Raiders of the Lost Ark eventually. But what I wanted to do is just give you a couple different ways to pay attention to, what's happening in a movie and how they're telling stories. So I hope you're interested. I hope this, if you saw this and you're like, nah, it's not for me, there's other stuff, but this is just kind of an idea of like what we're going to get into, how we're going to look at movies. And, if it's leveled you up already and now you're paying attention to music and lighting and, where they don't use music and whatever, that's great. That's what I want you to be doing. Okay. So see you soon.